This right here is our starting point. Everything that follows is really just an attempt to answer this very question with reason. When you look around, at the universe, at life itself, at your own consciousness, you have to wonder, how did any of this get here? Is it all just the product of a series of cosmic accidents, or is there another, maybe more rational, explanation?
Okay, so first things first, we have to establish one crucial fact about the universe itself. The evidence, whether you look at ancient wisdom or modern science, points overwhelmingly in one single direction. Our universe is not eternal. It had a beginning.
Now, this isn't just some abstract philosophical idea, right? This is the bedrock of all rational thought, of all scientific inquiry. We live our lives by this principle every single day. You see a building, you assume there was a builder. You see a painting, you know there was a painter. Effects demand causes. This is our foundational premise.
I love this. This response from a Bedouin just illustrates the power of that premise so intuitively. It's so simple, but it's incredibly profound. Camel droppings point to a camel. Footprints point to a traveler. He's just applying that same basic, undeniable logic on the grandest scale you can imagine, the universe itself.
And what's so fascinating is how modern science has completely caught up with this ancient intuition. As the physicist Paul Davies says right here, the idea of a universe with a beginning isn't just a religious concept anymore, it's a scientific fact. Our universe isn't some eternal, self-sustaining thing, it literally came into being.
The leading scientific theory for how this all started is, of course, the Big Bang. The idea that all matter, all energy, space, and time itself just erupted from a single, infinitesimally small point. But the crucial takeaway is this. It doesn't matter if you use simple logic or advanced cosmology, you end up at the exact same conclusion. The universe had a starting line, and if it began, it must have had a beginner.
So, if we accept that the universe has a cause, the next logical question is, what's the nature of that cause? Was it just some blind, random, purposeless force, or does the evidence we see inside creation itself point towards something more?
This brings us to a huge fork in the road in our reasoning. Is the intricate, life-sustaining order we see everywhere in the cosmos just a product of sheer coincidence, like an unbelievable cosmic lottery win? Or is it maybe the signature of purposeful, intelligent design?
Even a physicist like Stephen Hawking acknowledged this puzzle. The laws of physics, things like the force of gravity, the charge of an electron, the rate the universe is expanding, all of them are balanced on a razor's edge. If any of these values were just tweaked, even slightly, life as we know it would be completely impossible. It's almost as if the universe was specifically calibrated for us to exist.
Let me try and make this concept a little easier to grasp with an analogy. I want you to imagine you check into a completely random hotel room. You open the door, and what you find inside is, well, it's uncanny. See, on the bookshelf are all your favorite books. In the bathroom, you find the exact brand of shampoo you use. The kitchen stocked with your preferred type of tea, the thermostat is set to your perfect temperature, and there's a playlist of your favorite songs already queued up and playing softly. So what would you conclude? Would you really believe that was all pure random chance? Or would the far more rational conclusion be that someone who knows you perfectly, intimately, prepared this room just for you? Well, the fine-tuning of the universe presents us with that exact same choice.
Okay, so if the evidence points to a wise, intelligent creator, the logical chain doesn't just stop there. We have to ask, what would the nature of this creator's relationship with his creation be? Specifically with us. And this is a really crucial question. If a creator designed a universe so perfectly suited for life, does it make any sense that he would then just abandon that life to figure everything out on its own? Would a wise and merciful being really leave us all just wandering in the dark, without any sense of purpose or direction? Let's be honest about the human condition for a second. We make mistakes, we forget our highest ideals, we disagree profoundly on the most important questions in life. Why are we here? How are we supposed to live? History shows that when we rely only on ourselves, we often end up lost, creating conflicting systems and frankly causing a lot of harm. We need a reliable external standard.
The scholar Ibn Taymiyyah really captures the urgency of this need perfectly. He's arguing that divine guidance brought by messengers isn't some luxury, it's an absolute necessity. It's as essential to our souls as light is to our eyes. It's the only way to align our lives with the purpose we were actually created for.
So this brings us to the final part of our inquiry.
If guidance is necessary, how would we recognize it? How could we possibly test if a message truly came from the Creator? Well, a logical way would be to examine the messenger. So, let's look at a case study.
The life of the Prophet Muhammad offers a really compelling test case. You can really divide his life into two distinct parts. For 40 years, before he received a single revelation, he just lived among his people. Then, for the final 23 years of his life, he delivered the message. So the crucial question is, what was his character like in those first 40 years?
This is a historical fact. It's undisputed, even by his staunchest enemies. He wasn't just, considered an honest guy. He was famous for his integrity. His reputation was so perfect that people would entrust him with their most valuable possessions. He was the moral benchmark of his entire society. That track record is a critical piece of evidence.
And listen to this brilliant piece of deduction. It doesn't come from a follower. It comes from an external, powerful source, the Byzantine Emperor Heraclius. When he was questioning one of the prophet's opponents, he zeroed in on the most logical point. After confirming that Muhammad had never told a lie in his life, Heraclius's conclusion was simple. Why would a man who lived 40 years without ever lying to people suddenly invent the biggest lie possible, a lie about God? It just defies all logic.
Okay, so that was the messenger. The second proof was the message itself, the Quran. It was revealed in a society that prided itself on its mastery of poetry and the Arabic language. But the Quran presented them with a direct challenge: produce something like it. And despite their fierce opposition, they were completely unable to meet that challenge. This literary inimitability was presented as standing proof of its divine origin.
So, let's just recap the logical chain we've built here. We started with a simple idea of cause and effect, which tells us the universe requires a creator. We then saw that the fine-tuning of the universe implies this creator is intelligent and wise. That wisdom in turn suggests that sending guidance to humanity is a logical necessity. And finally, the proof of that guidance can be tested by looking at the impeccable character of the messenger and the inimitable nature of the message.
You see how each step in this chain is built upon the last, forming a single, cohesive, rational argument. It presents faith not as some blind leap into the dark, but as a series of logical steps toward the light. And so we end where we began, with a question. If the evidence of our reason, our science, and our history all seem to point in the same direction, what is the most rational response? That's the question we'll leave you with.